Oh God. Oh God, it's the Diddler. Oh God. You would have been at the Diddy parties too. You know it. You know it. Peace. Shalom. Salam. All those good words. I pray you all are doing well. I'll get right into it. We're in the midst of the trial of the century, as many people are calling it. They're calling it that, presumably because many dominoes will fall. We have to be mindful that this individual, Sean Puffy, Fluffy, P. Diddler, Diddy Combs, you know, he did the Harlem Shake, twerking it up and down Harlem. That man was one of the heads of the music industry. He was rubbing elbows with a lot of executives. I wonder how many executives were at the freak off. None of them are on trial. They might be witnesses intimidated by the federal government with immunity to go against the diddler. Something to be mindful of. But this individual, Sean Diddler Combs, was one of the heads, one of the powers that be, if you will, in the music industry. He gave the say-so for what music would be on the radio or not. He amassed billions of dollars by unaliving Notorious B.I.G. Yeah, I think we can all say that safely, right? We kind of all know that. When I was a young pup wanting to get into the music biz, and I was choosing whether to be a conscious artist or to be a sibling, be the one of those kind of guys selling the soul proverbially. I knew. We all knew it in the studio. Like, oh, would you let Diddy freak you off to sign that $10 million deal? And this is what we said at the round table. Like, we all knew it. And this was 13, 14 years ago, bro. 12, 13 years ago. Some guys said no. Some guys shook their head and thinking about it. Some guys said maybe if the bread was advanced. Like, yo, this is real, man. And this was years ago, 12, 13 years ago. So this is an actual reality that people were ignoring, but that people really knew. Jadakiss and the Locks, they talked about it. Graping you. So we have to hold accountable all the people that knew and didn't do anything. If children are involved and they're getting touched to that extent, and no one besides this man is getting held accountable, it doesn't seem right. But at least we're holding someone accountable, right? And let the chips fall where they may. So that's the first point in my interpretation, that this is a powerful person who was a degenerate, clearly. And he was one of the heads of music. And we see where the culture of music went. This man is degenerate. He's doing freak-offs. You think he's going to want to hear Alhamdulillah in his music? You think when he's in the freak off, he wants to hear Hallelujah? Think now. Think how deep it's gonna go, because this is vanity. It's vain, and it's backbiting, maybe gossip, maybe. But this is very important in culture. Culturally, this is very important because this is one of the powerful people which had influence on the minds of the youth. I've listened to Diddy's music. Last night, couldn't even get an answer. Like that was one of the, I was like, whoa, this song's fire. Going through a breakup, right? Or whatever. But when you really think about it, you sit down, you're like, wait a minute. This guy is putting hands on women on video. This guy allegedly, presumably, unalived and offed his biggest selling artist, which raised his trajectory financially to the highest stratosphere. Because, Biggie's mother didn't recoup any of the masters. It was Diddy has the masters. The masters being the real copy. He owns the publishing of Notorious B.I.G.'s music, which is totally unfair, But it is what it is. That's the record labels. And that's why it's better to be independent. But that's a whole other spiel. Second thing. if one is in an abusive relationship for 20 years, are they still a victim? And I had to do a lot of meditating and research into this. And yeah, because that fear, that gut feeling of fear and shame, and you're gonna leak the videos of people giving me golden showers. I might as well stay. You know what I mean? It's so difficult to gauge how someone is in that mental state, because we're living our lives, we're working out, we travel, listen to music, and we're not in an abusive relationship where we're afraid to go home for days, weeks, months, years. And it's very courageous on her part. And it's not me being a white knight, because she got her 50 million. She made sure to get the 50 million first. But I would have told her to do the same thing. Get the bag, because all you went through, you being a young woman, not making light of the situation, for sure. You being a young woman, not knowing certain things, not being privy to certain information, you're gonna go along with things. You want the money and the fame, yes. She may not be able to say that, and if she does, I'll give her a lot of respect. She wanted the money, she wanted the fame, she wanted the status, but she didn't know that she was with a sociopath. 50 shades of black, not gray, black, evil, wickedness in high places. So she withstood the abuse, but it takes a lot of courage, especially when you know that this man unalived one of his best friends. If he unalived one of his best friends, one of his biggest artists, excuse me, we have to understand that this is a dirty game we're playing right now. The world is beautiful, but it's black and white, there's gray. And in this situation, he is totally cooked. He's char-boiled, he's char-grilled, it's overdone, cooked steak, it's over. If I'm on the jury, I don't need to hear anymore. What more do you need to hear? What I want to hear is about the children that were trafficked. What I want to hear is about the unaliving of Biggie. What I want to hear is the unaliving of Kim Porter. We already know Albie Shore got sick out of nowhere. He's walking around, he just starts leaking, bleeding, goes into a coma. And he's like, yo, Diddy did it. Diddy did it. He's like, yeah. You got the guy the male stripper from Florida. He's like, yeah, I was with Diddy for years. And people are like, how many times are we gonna how many times are we gonna do this for rich and famous and powerful people? Think about it. Let's really think together. And put any comments, like, subscribe, or whatever. But let's be serious. Let's be serious and use our brains, right? I told you 13 years ago, as a recording artist, I'm in the studio and they're like, yo, are you willing to do that with Diddy for $10 million? Obviously, I said no. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? And like Cat Williams said, he wanted to go into the industry with a nice butthole. Pause, YouTube, whatever. And then he says, when Diddy asks you to party, you gotta tell him no. What are we doing here? What are you doing, bro? This is a classic case of a man who's not able to control his lusts and appetites. And if he was able to control them, he could have done a lot of good in the world with all the wealth he amassed. But Allah's the judge. God is the judge. I can't sit here and say that he's going to hellfire. But what I can say is what he did is wrong for sure. It's wrong. He definitely was trafficking people. He definitely was abusing people. Thousands of bottles of baby oil. 36 hours of freak offs. And that's the third point. The third point. Where do you find the energy to be doing that, man? How do you do that, bro? Hey, come on, man. People that know me know I got this on deck, the honey pack with a little, you know what I'm saying? But 36 hours, I'll give you 20 minutes. Maybe 5 hours. That's the most. And not to be perverse with the lips or whatever, but 5 hours, I'm sleepy time, bro. That's the third point. What? That's perverted. It's perverted. Asking another dude to golden shower your wife or your girlfriend is perverted. There's certain things that in a marriage or a relationship, even with consenting adults, even with the handshake and the kiss on the cheek, it's wrong. I'm not even gonna go into it because that's perverted. I don't even want to say it. But there's certain things you don't do intimately with your partner, bro. What are you doing, bro? Shit, man. Damn. Nah, bro. But I know a lot of people watching this would have been at the freak-offs. No problem. If no one would ever know, if there was never any trouble in a carnal sense, in a worldly sense, a lot of people would have done them. They would have been at the party. But we have to realize that people that are disenfranchised and taken from their families, and we have to remember them. We have to be mindful that every dog has his day, man. We can't do whatever we will. We can't impose our will. And the fourth point. Nah, I'll keep it at 3. I'll just add on to it. This is satanic, demonic stuff. 36 hours, 48 hours, 80-hour freak-offs. That's demonic. He's trying to accumulate semen energy. They know about the dark arts and the occult. That's what it's all about. So it's spiritual wickedness in high places in terms of the pyramid, right? The pyramid with all that. They're doing all that stuff, right? And he's accumulating energy, and he's imposing his will on people, and it's boosting his ego. So when he's putting out projects, he feels more emboldened and empowered to reap financial success because he's working for the demonic negative energies. So he has to promote evil, degenerate, disgusting music because that's what he does in his personal life. But as we remember, Cohen said with Charlemagne, that, yeah, I talent. I just want talent. Like, you don't care what the person does in their personal life. If they worship the fallen angels, the watchers, and the demons, talent. All I want is talent. You don't care if they're talking about pew pew violence. You don't care if they're talking about grape in the music. Talent is all I want. So my first point, really, what record executives was at the parties? Why is it only Diddy being prosecuted? Maybe it's the federal government giving witnesses immunity. A witness like Cassie, who's calling certain individuals into the freak-offs. 2, Cassie, why did it take you 10 years and then after getting the $50 million and writing a book deal to start saying something? Did you wait until after you got immunity for the sins you may have committed? Don't say, man. 3, these individuals control the culture because of their wealth and power. Were they influencing the culture positively or negatively? Obviously, negatively. When we look at the rates of black-on-black violence and crime, obviously negative. Especially when someone like that at the helm. You know what I mean? If he's at the top, from top to bottom, he's only going to recruit individuals that are on the same wavelength and frequency as him. So let's be mindful of what's going on in the trial of the century, which it presumably is, because, people are saying Ellen DeGeneres fled the country. They're saying if they put Justin Bieber on the stand, everyone in the world's going to, So don't want to make this too long. Keep it short and sweet. I hope you guys enjoy your day. I hope you guys take it easy. And don't get lost in the sauce. There's a God that watches and controls everything. And I'm not judging anybody. God is the judge, like I said, but there are certain things that are impermissible. There are certain things that are prohibited in the bedroom. Certain things you're not supposed to do in the bedroom. And I think this trial will expose that. I think this trial will expose the wickedness in high places, whereas certain individuals who have a positive message in hip hop and rap have gotten blocked in favor of wicked, degenerate individuals. You know what's funny? Before I close, the song by Jadakiss, Why? That's actually my favorite song from him. And he didn't pop off with that song the way I would have hoped. Maybe individuals like Diddy or individuals at the freak offs didn't want that song to pop off. A good song. Peace.